Right, it is another week of football banter live here on Walk with the Sagini Live. And the show that is just coming to you live here on air is The Final Whistle. My name is Jason Sagini, the Sports Archbishop. I'm joined here by the good panel of pundits, but also football fans in the English Premier League, discussing game week 26 of the much-loved English Premier League. We are getting to the tail end of the league, but before that, we still are not yet sure who is going to walk away with the coveted title for the 2026 Premier League title. Is it Manchester City, or is it Arsenal, or could even be Manchester United? Who knows? Because football is a game whereby anything can happen. This is The Final Whistle. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, wherever you're watching us from. Hapa ni ndani ya kipindi cha Walk with Sagini na najiunga na Rukus, shabiki mkubwa Arsenal, ambaye pia leo amekataa kuvaa jezi. Yaani mwenyewe hajiamini kwamba wanaweza kunyakua ligi, lakini shabiki mwenzake Shila yeye anaamini kwamba wanaweza kuibuka na taji la EPL, kwa hivyo yeye amvalia jezi ya klabu ya Arsenal. Lakini pia najiunga na Mudali, shabiki wa the Red Devils. Wanacheza leo usiku. Je, watapata ushindi na Everton ama itakuwaje? Lakini pia najiunga na shabiki wa the Blues North London, Kwanya Joshua. Anasema kwamba yeye weekend ijayo lazima atatushikia Arsenal. Je, litatimia ndoto hiyo? Lakini pia wewe uliye hapo kwenye Facebook comments, unaweza kunitumia ujumbe wako, niambie, tuma mchango wako uweze kuniambia. Swali langu moja tu, uweze kuniambia, do you think Arsenal will bottle the gap lead at the top again? Do you think Arsenal will bottle that lead gap on top of the table again after reducing that gap from 12 points to around 2? Then this weekend they won, and the points gap now stands at 5. So do you think they will drop that advantage 5 points to lower it down by Manchester City? Niambie pale kwenye comments section ya Facebook. Ni pia unaweza kunitumia kauli yako kwenye Twitter ama kwenye X ikiwa ni Jason_Sagini hashtag. Bila shaka inakuwa ni The Final Whistle. Mwanzo kabisa nianze kwa kumulika tu matokeo yalivyokuwa, lakini kabla hapo nimsikie Rukus. Welcome back again. How are you and how are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me, Jason. Sijui kama nitaongea sheng ama kizungu, but nita switch.
Any can do.
It's been a while, lakini ilibidi nikuje kwa show because I need to align some things. Kuna vitu lazima to set square because tunaona watu wa Manchester wameanza kuwa na mdomo. I don't know what you're saying about your predictions hapo, by the way. Lazima tukue realistic kwa show, yeah. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Acha tuongee mambo vizuri.
Bila shaka, karibu sana, karibu sana. Nimkaribishe pia Joshua Kwanya. Mpotea sana ndugu yangu bwana. Vipi?
Asante sana Sagini. Saa zingine inabidi mtu anapotea kidogo, lakini niko around. But thanks so much for the invite. Acha tubambanye hii mambo ya ball. Asante.
Tupashane ukweli na wanavyosema Waswahili. Mudali, mambo vipi? Manchester leo usiku uko vizuri? Are you ready ama umepanic?
Poa sana. Nani ka panic brother? Mimi siwezi panic.
Haya.
Kwa sawa, Tarik Football, we are ready. Wacha tuone vile show itatupeleka tonight.
Vizuri kabisa. Shila, karibu tena. Ligi mnashinda ama mshindi? Wewe, what I like about you is you're always on high spirits.
Okay, Sagini, thanks for sorry.
Yeah,
okay, Sagini, niko sawa. Nashukuru kwa kunialika kwa show. I appreciate. So I believe, I'm optimistic we're gonna win these. Okay, nitaongea mengi baadaye. Thank you.
Safi kabisa. Mwanzo ni some jumbe kadhaa za wanaojiunga nasi hapa. Let me just give some shout outs before we continue this show. Hesbon Nyamari is tuned in on Facebook Live alongside some other guys like Mwas Junior and Senior Bensoik Senior. They're also live tuned in on our Facebook channel. So remember, guys, if you're watching from wherever you're watching us from, please tell us where you're watching us from, and don't forget to share this live stream to your Facebook profiles, because why? We need this show to get to people who don't know about. So if you have a Facebook account, if you're watching on Facebook right now, the 16 people I'm seeing here, please share this live stream to your Facebook profiles, Facebook groups, Facebook pages, everywhere. Kote share. Mswahili anasema kwamba kizuri usile peke yako. Mwanzo nianze kwa kumulika matokeo yalivyokuwa katika weekend ya 26 ya EPL. Mambo yalikuwa ni moto kweli kweli, na kwa mkiangalia hapa matokeo mseto kwelikweli. Arsenal wakamkandamiza Spurs magoli 4-1 ugenini, akifunga magoli mawili kila moja Eberechi Eze na Gyokeres. Lakini pia Man City waliifunga Newcastle 2-1 siku ya Jumamosi. Aston Villa mimi usiamini walikabwa sare ya goli 1-1. Chelsea nao pia kama tu Aston Villa wakabanwa kwa sare ya goli 1-1. West Ham kule chini wanazidi kusuasua bila dhidi ya Bournemouth, lakini Liverpool dakika za jioni wakapata ushindi dhidi ya Nottingham Forest goli 1-0. Crystal Palace nao wakawafunga Wolves goli 1-0. Fulham nao wakiwabamiza Sunderland magoli 3-1. Lakini gumzo kubwa la wikendi hii bila shaka wenzangu ni gumzo kuhusiana na klabu hii ya Arsenal. Arsenal walishinda mechi ya jana Mudali, lakini the way they celebrated you could think they have won the league already, but let's just remind them we still have 12 rounds to go. This was too much celebrations, Mudali.
12 rounds, Sagini. A lot of football still ahead of us. But first things first. If you've been a fan here na kwa wale ambao watu tunazungumza, you've always known that I've always said that people have been harsh to Arteta. To be honest to the fans, Arteta has tried. Ushindi wa jana, Tottenham being Tottenham. Actually, Sagini, I must say that should have been the most shambolic football I've ever seen from Tottenham. Much as Arsenal walicheza vizuri and their celebrations were deserved, considering that it was a London derby and quite a decisive game in the run for the Premier League title. I think Tottenham did not turn up for the game. Now, Sagini, I was trying to look at the new coach, Igor Tudor, to just look at anything that he has won anywhere, and I understood why Tottenham played the way they played yesterday. So, not too much of a celebration. Actually, they deserve. Tumekuwa wagumu sana kwao. The last 2 games they have had draws. Wamedraw na the pressure was actually on them. And to be fair to them, to be fair to Arsenal, that was a good response. Gyokeres 2 goals and contributing to 50% of the total goals. And Eberechi Eze, despite kukua bench for all that while, he came in and put in a good show. I think it's also an issue of mentality. Joe Odegaard alikuwa kwa bench and just him starting and knowing that he had a hat-trick made him turn up with a brace. So that was deserved, but bado. We can see the way Pep and his City team are playing, Sagini.
Sheila, mimi nafikiri kwamba mumeanza kukua carried away kwamba mshashinda ligi, manake mlivyo celebrate jana.
Okay, Sagini, kwanza nikianza vizuri, unajua for the past I guess 2 games we played against Brentford, against Wolves, matokeo hayajakuwa mazuri sana, so our hope ilikuwa down, and yesterday's game ndio ilikuwa game ambayo ingetupa hope at least to know that we are still on the title race. Nikiangalia Man City, yes, Man City ilicheza against Newcastle, the results were 2-1, but walifunga tu dakika za mwisho. Newcastle, nilikuwa natakia Newcastle ushindi as always, nilikuwa nafikiria ita win, but I believe Man City can also drop points. Si ati sisi pia hivyo tu, but they can also drop points. So I still believe the title is still there on. Na you vile tuli celebrate, we just deserve it, because every in the world they were expecting us to fail. Kila mtu yani ukisikia tu amengoja hiyo game. Yeah, so we had to celebrate that one. It was a good start for tukiendelea mbele.
Bila shaka. Let me go to your fellow Arsenal fan. Where does this win put you as Arsenal, Rukus, after bottling the gap from around 12 points to 2?
One thing it does, it places us back on top of the table. Penye tunafaa, of course. Unajua watu wanasema ndovu ingoje ianguke. But one thing I can say, we still have a 2-point gap deficit. Najua Man City have a game in hand, of which wakishinda, I'm assuming they will. But hata hiyo game in hand ni against Newcastle, so siko sure bado. Ilikuwa against Newcastle, of which they've played. So the one that they will play, that will be scheduled in regards to that will be the game in hand. I'm assuming they'll win. Now, mi kwangu sahi najua tuko na 2-point gap. Na hiyo gap tutatatua ile time tutamit Etihad, of course, in April. Na I'm sure hapo ndo Pep amepiga hesabu zake. Now, this win was very important because pressure ilikuwa imeanza kukuja. The vultures were gathering. Na already, of course, Tottenham kama kawaida kwao, unajua tuko training ground tukienda huko White Hart Lane. Na tunangojea pia Chelsea wakuje nyumbani tuwaonyeshe pia these are just drills we are doing. Tumezoea hizi vitu. Basing on that, hiyo win ilikuwa very important because ilitupea confidence going forward. Na nimecompare pia the number of the fixtures coming up against the clubs that we are playing against. Kuna moja iko bottom of the table na mbili at the top of the table. So I can say against Man City, of course, compare, we have a hard fixtures compared to them, but I'm positive that your confidence yenye tumepata from hii fixture, hii result going forward is enough for us to say tunaweza shinda hii kitu bado.
Kwanya, Rukus anasema kwamba ushindi wa jana unawapatia matumaini kwamba wanaweza bado kunyakua ligi hii. Unajua jana we were all behind Spurs, but at the end of the game I could say Spurs is that young brother who will never give you peace around any girl in the village, you know. So Spurs walituangusha, and I hope your team Chelsea next weekend hamtatuangusha.
Well, thanks Sagini. I think mimi nimesikiza the Arsenal fans wakisema, I think they're very happy that they got the 3 points against Spurs, but you know, Arsenal beating Spurs should not really make any serious football fans serious, because happy, because Arsenal always beat Spurs anyway, be it Kasarani, be it Emirates, be it the London Stadium. I think it's only Chelsea that has won at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium than any other team, but followed by Arsenal. So Arsenal beating Spurs, I don't read a lot in it really, because
Mr. Kwaya, can I interject, my friend? Can I interject? Yeah. Because I do not. Just give him
Rukus, just give him some moment to finish his point, then you'll come in. Yeah, I'll give you a right of reply.
Someone cannot water down our victory, please. It's okay.
It's okay, Rukus. Just hold on. You'll get a chance to reply.
Another thing, again, you know, Tottenham Hotspurs are missing 11 first 11 players. So I think if you go to Tottenham Hotspurs and beat them 4-1, and the game becomes easy, and after Victor Gyokeres scores, I think you shouldn't be over the moon celebrating here and telling us, you know, Arsenal, that's Spurs. It's not Spurs, it is Spursy. If you understand what I'm saying. So I think really they needed the 3 points. So if you ask me, considering the fact that they had dropped points against Wolverhampton Wanderers, bottom of the table, they also dropped points against Brentford. And I've heard Rukus say that he has looked at the fixtures that are coming up for Arsenal, and kuna zile teams wanacheza nazo that are in the top half of the table. Alafu kuna some ziko the bottom side of the table. Having drawn against Wolverhampton Wanderers, should be worried when you are going to play against teams that are on the other side of the table. So never get carried away with it. But on a serious note, I think this is Arsenal League to lose. If you don't win it this season, then I think that statement of bottle job is always going to come back. I think I also heard Mudali saying that Arteta amejaribu, yes, but remember he has been there for 6 years, and look at the investment that also been there. So your investment, Pia, do you think we have ROI? That is return on investment. Have we seen ROI from that? So in as much as he has done a good job, let's also look at the kind of investment that has gone throughout the years since 2019 November when he joined Arsenal. So I think Rukus and Sheila, it is your league to lose. Musikue na shaka. Unless you want to bottle it again. Mudali said, Igor Tudor, aliangalia the kind of coach he is. I think Igor Tudor came to Tottenham Hotspur for one reason, just to stabilize the ship. Because looking at his history, he is a manager who doesn't akai kwa team moja for like even 2 years. Look at Juventus, Udinese. I think Udinese amekuwa in two stints. So it's just mtu amekuja tu to stabilize the ship, then maybe Tottenham will avoid relegation. After that, it goes somewhere else. So I think for Spurs, Arsenal fans, it's Spursy really. For Chelsea, don't. I hope tutaongea about Chelsea, Arsenal versus Chelsea.
Can I now interject, Mr. Sagini?
Yes, go on.
Sure. Yeah, you have 2 minutes. Of course. You have 2 minutes for reply.
Now, one thing I'm always categorical is when criticizing other teams. Unajua kwako pia hujanyoa. Unajua tembo ikimwagiwa maji, hujanyoa kwako. So for both reasons, Mr. Kwanya, let us be constructive in our criticism. The way we played against that team, the pressure that was in that game was unmatched. We were coming off 2 draws. Mind you, by the way, we have played 3 games back-to-back away. That is not an easy feat. And that's, of course, I'm not going to use any excuses to justify our draws. We expected to win all those games because of the mentality we have right now as a team. But to come into that game, it's a derby. It's not any other team. It's a derby. Man City dropped 2 points against this team barely a month ago. So going to Spurs and winning, and not only winning, but winning emphatically in the best way we could. It was a message statement, and it should be applauded. So we are allowed to feel the way we are feeling right now, please. Because we know the pressure we are in. We know the haters we are up against. Anyway.
Let me just remind Rukus that Manchester City, kama kuna team inasumbwanga Manchester City in this league and anywhere, is Tottenham Hotspur. So
that is a narrative I
wasn't really surprised when Spurs got a point against City. But of course, you getting the maximum 3 points, it is good. It's a moral booster, yes. But again, it is Tottenham Hotspur. This is the Denzel Nkunku scoring against AFC. It's not news. This is like Didier Drogba scoring against Arsenal. It's not news.
Is it news when Manchester United won against Man City this season?
Yeah, it is. That's a derby.
That is a derby, exactly. So in a derby, anything can happen in a derby. That's what I'm trying to
yesterday,
that
wasn't even a derby.
That is like telling me Everton versus Liverpool is a big thing. At least Liverpool keeps on winning it every now and then.
Exactly, that's the point. Sheila has something to say. Sheila.
Okay, so I can see my friend is talking bad about Arsenal, like it's just Tottenham. No, on our first leg we won 4-1, and this you can't just say it's just Tottenham. No, remember we are rivals. You understand? Enemies. When enemies meet, there is that pressure, and we were also under pressure, high pressure. We had drawn 2 games. This game we scored, then the Tottenham player equalized. So we were under pressure. We just had to win. You can't say just that it is Tottenham, it's a small team. No, I understand Tottenham, it's not a small team, it's a big team. Anyway, we will talk more on Chelsea against Burnley and United tonight.
Sagini, let me just correct something. I'm not saying Tottenham Hotspur is a small team. I'm just saying Arsenal versus Tottenham, looking at the records recently, this is a game that doesn't, like at mimi yesterday when somebody told me that Spurs are going to give, draw or get a point against Arsenal, I would tell you are joking, because looking at the records over the years, and by the way, Sheila, I'm talking as a Chelsea fan who beats Tottenham Hotspur anywhere and everywhere. So I know that beating Spurs is the easiest thing. As a Chelsea fan, I know we denied Tottenham Hotspur winning the Premier League title in 2016. So, say at Tottenham ni team dogo, I'm just looking at the history between Spurs and Arsenal. And that history tells us that Arsenal have had an upper hand against Spurs. Hata kama Spurs wako na Dele Alli, wako na Harry Kane, wako na Eriksen, wako na Sonny, all of those guys. Arsenal always have an upper hand. By the way, Arsenal fans here, Rukus and Sheila, mtuambie, when was the last time Spurs beat Arsenal, by the way?
No, it's been a while.
I don't remember.
Thank you. You see, thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Case closed. Case closed.
In that spirit, Choir.
No.
Do you believe you'll win against Arsenal?
No.
Because that is also a derby.
Okay,
but why? But why were you like? Why were you?
Sheila, just hold on. The question is to Kwanya.
Do you believe you'll win the London derby against Arsenal also? Because also we have results against you.
Arsenal versus Chelsea.
Yes.
Looking at the history, I think no Chelsea manager in the recent years has beaten Arteta. Even huyu kocha wa sahi Arteta amempiga twice in a row. So the Carabao Cup. So I'm not going to sit here and lie at Chelsea are going to mount a serious thing against Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. I would be takuwa delulu.
Wewe Kwanya, tunawategemea weekend ijayo bwana. Be serious. Tunawategemea weekend ijayo. Be serious a team. But then Mudali, I want you to I don't want you to comment about that. That case is closed. I want you to comment about a player here who when he came to Arsenal, of course, people walimbeza sana. But first and foremost, before I just let you know about him, here's a good start about Eberechi Eze. Eberechi Eze has scored 6 goals since joining Arsenal mid-season, and 5 of his goals are against Tottenham Hotspurs. One thing I can agree with Kwanya is Spurs is not really a competitor. Even that game yesterday, I don't think that was a derby because Spurs didn't play like a derby-like. So I can agree with Kwanya around 90%. But then look at this list here. Eberechi Eze joins a number of players who have scored a number of goals against Spurs, the likes of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Ian Wright, Patrick Vieira, Alexander Lacazette, and Freddie Ljungberg. But then on the top of the list sits Roberto Pires, who has scored 7 goals, the most in any North London derby for Arsenal. Manuel Adebayo has scored 6. Robin van Persie, Thierry Henry, and Eberechi Eze, the trio, have now scored 5 goals against Spurs in the North London derby. Then look at these goals. This year only, Victor Gyokeres is the top scorer in 2026 with 8 goals ahead of the likes of Igor Thiago, Antoine Semenyo, Somerville, Anthony Gordon, Joao Pedro, and so forth. The list is endless, Mudali. And of course, goals scored by big summer striker signing this season in all major competitions. Gyokeres tops with 15 goals. Second is Hugo Ekitike of Liverpool with 14. Joao Pedro of Chelsea with 14, Nick Woltemed of Newcastle with 10, and Benjamin Sesko of Manchester United with 7 goals. So my question, Mudali, is, has Gyokeres proved doubters wrong so far?
Well, a multifaceted question. We can look at it from various perspectives, Sagini. But first of all, I have to say Arsenal fans are over the moon with this win, but we'll give it to them, but Spurs no competitor will retaliate. Now, Victor Gyokeres, unajua when a player comes to a team and especially changing leagues, Sagini, there's usually a lot of hullabaloo, a lot of saying, and especially when you're joining a big club, and a big club like Arsenal that imekuwa na shida ya number 9. So while Victor Gyokeres was coming to Arsenal, there were a lot of doubters in the way that he performed, and even in the initial games, Sagini, we have seen that people have criticized the way he has played, and in some games he has been a pedestrian actually. But looking at the way he has played this year and looking at the way he has influenced the game, Sagini, I can say Victor Gyokeres, there's a way if Arsenal handles the game, he's really into the game, and there's a way Arsenal wakihandle game, or the other opponent akijipanga, it becomes very tricky. Now, a case in point, I will use yesterday's game against Spurs. Now, Igor Tudor lined up Spurs with a back 3, which I don't know if it was right, but I know he plays that all along. And what I think the defense was very inviting for Victor Gyokeres. Actually, looking at the first goal he scored, that is the second goal for Arsenal, there was just too much room. He was left with a lot of space for him to attack. And I think when a team allows Victor Gyokeres as the number 9 to thrive and to take them on, he's very lethal. But when a team slight of suffocates Victor Gyokeres, for example, in the game for games that zile games zenye teams are very, how should we say, low blocks or compact in the defense, Victor Gyokeres really gets a hard time. But tukiangalia sasa venye amecheza this year, I think he has been unlocked. And to be fair to him and to be fair to the way he has played, especially this year, and especially the mentality that he had yesterday, being that it was a derby and him scoring twice, I think he made a big statement, not just a statement scoring a brace, but scoring a brace in a derby. So I think it was a big statement. We'll be able to see him. I think he has been adapting, but I think in the next games to come, tutakuwa able to assess. But as for now, I think for us doubters, he has proven us wrong, but we would want to see more from him, especially basing on the way he'll be supplied, of course, with the Arsenal wing. That is from Saka and the likes of Martinelli and Madueke, of course.
Great. Let me hear from Sheila. Sheila, Victor Gyokeres, at the moment, he has 15 goals in all competitions for Arsenal since joining among the new signings in the summer. How many goals do you think he's going to score at the end of the season for you guys?
Okay, first of all, Victor Gyokeres, when he came, the games that he played first, people were doubting, making jokes, fun of him. So we were just there. We thought maybe it was a scam of this man. But I believe now we gave him time. So he's trying to prove many people wrong that he can do better. So I believe we can score many goals so long as I can't predict the goals, but he will perform much better so long as he has good distributors of the ball likes of Eze, yeah, Martin Odegaard. So long as he just have good assists, yeah, I believe we're gonna perform well. I remember that time when people are comparing him with Sesko. Oh, Sesko has scored a goal, so the pressure was onto him. But look at Gyokeres now. I like the energy that my striker has when he's in the team. You can't compare Gyokeres and Gabriel Jesus. When Gabriel Jesus is there, the game is not just that good, but when Gyokeres is there, even if we can't score fast, but he just makes the game to be that much good. Yeah, he has a great impact on our game.
Great. Let me hear from Rukus. Rukus, is Gyokeres the man to win you the league this season?
Absolutely, 100%. I believe so. The only thing, one of the things I like about Gyokeres is intensity. He brings that intensity up front to the game. He brings more intensity than Gabriel Jesus or Kai Havertz combined because he is a traditional 9. And he has good pace on the ball. He's strong, very athletic. Of course, he's not very good with the ball at his feet. But one thing I like about him also is his mentality. Look at the way he took at that goal yesterday. It was reminiscent of Aubameyang's goal. I think it was in 2017 when we played against Tottenham again. One touch, placed the ball at the back of the net. Very, 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 very well. Very good technique. You could tell it is coming off the ground, the way he even hit it as well. So I think as a number 9, I think he's the one who's going to help us going forward. So far, he has 10 goals in the EPL. I believe he's going to be able to reach 15 and the upwards of that. Yeah, he's really proving himself. Of course, people have been saying he's been playing very well against the relegation for the sides, of course, the likes of Leeds and West Ham or whichever team. But yesterday he was very impactful and he scored against Tottenham, which is equally a good side, if you ask me so.
Great, perfect. Let me just take some comments here before coming to Kwanya. I want Kwanya to talk to me about Spurs and the relegation battle, because as we speak at the moment, Spurs are sitting around the position 16, 17 there, so it's not looking good for them. But before that, let me just read out some shout-outs here. Momanyo Gachi Kelvin is joining us right now. Saka Ildefonse also joining, watching on Facebook. Isaac Makanda, Brian Rain, Azpilikweta, Samuel Tongo is Derek Jumba, Humphrey Simiyu, and Jackson Kilonzi. They are all watching on Facebook Live. And here on the comment section, I can see watu wamewaka moto bila shaka yote. Namuona Virginia Sancho Wakio is tuned in. Asante sana. Anasema kwamba still early for Arsenal. Alafu namuona pia Mwas Junior. Mwas Junior is attacking me. Mwas Junior, be careful. Anasema kwamba kila Monday ukiongea mbaya mkiwa na game huwa kinaumana. Leo chungu. Shindwe kabisa. Shindwe kabisa.
Hope umesikia hiyo.
Sida Bensoika anasema kwamba up and live, I'm following kama kawa. Asante sana. Lakini pia nimsome Derek Jumba, one of our panelists here leo yuko, anasema kwamba as it stands it is very tight. Nakuru ndio mtaa. Asante sana. Azpilikweta Tongo is anasema I believe they can still lift this title. I am a Chelsea fan. Hesbon Nyamari anasema Rukus atulie, sindano iingie pole pole taratibu. Namwona pia Virginia Sancho Wakio anasema Arsenal fan, Rukus ashaanza feelings mapema, na Mei wakimaliza namba 2 atafanya nini? Ndio kauli yake Virginia Sancho Wakio. Now let me just cross over to Kwanya. There's this team, umeshataja kuhusiana na Igor Tudor ukisema kwamba he's not a coach who can be in a team for more than 2 years, yeye kushikilia tu. Lakini swali langu kubwa ni je, ukiangalia Spurs katika jedwali la EPL kufikia sasa hivi hawako nafasi nzuri, wapo nafasi 16, alama ngapi? Alama 29, alama ngapi? Alama 4 tu juu ya kipenyo cha kushushwa daraja la EPL. It is not looking so safe for Spurs at the moment. Are Spurs more vulnerable than West Ham and Nottingham Forest? And do you think they'll stay up or they'll go down?
Well, I don't think whether Spurs will go down. I just think that Igor Tudor started his reign at Spurs with a tough game against their North London rivals, Arsenal. So really, when you come to the Premier League and your first game is against an opponent like Arsenal, I think even after the game yesterday, Lesema, Arsenal is the best team in the world at the moment. So that means that it was a tough match for him. So we can't really rate him with that game. And also, he's also coming at Spurs at a time when Spurs are missing a lot of players. So even if he doesn't get the rest of the team, like Madison, all these guys who are injured, if they don't come back until the season ishe, then even if he leaves, we hatutakuwa tumegauge how good he is as a manager, because amekuja kwa team then akatumia more or less reserved team in the Spurs squad. So personally, I don't think that the Spurs will get relegated. Looking at that tape, I think Wolves will go down. Burnley will also go down. Then we'll have a conversation in regards to Nottingham Forest and West Ham. But I think Spurs the same way they survived last season, because last season Pielo was 16 and winning the Europa League against Manchester United and San Mamés. I think even this season they can just survive.
Right. Mudali, Igor Tudor, yesterday after the game, he said he believes there is still enough time for his Spurs side to avoid relegation from the Premier League, provided they stay humble. Can they survive or will they go down?
Well, a tough call. As my fellow panelists have said, I think Igor Tudor has come at a bad time, but I will not forgive Tottenham for being such a bad side. Mtu atasema ni feelings juu alinipiga in the last European Cup final, but I will say no. Tottenham Hotspur is generally a bad side, and I think it's a club that lives in the era that there's no zeal to win. And even when remind me this coach Sagini, the coach that said the players cannot play at Tottenham.
Ange Postecoglou?
No, now before Ange.
Thomas Frank.
Thomas
now
Frank.
Before, no, the Italian.
Conte, anasema Conte.
Antonio Conte.
Yeah, Antonio Conte, actually before he left Tottenham, he was very furious with the way the players play. And he said that at Tottenham, there seems to be a lack of mentality, a lack of winning, a lack of a team that pressures itself to win cups. So based on the existing question, I will not say Sisikasema Tottenham will go to the drop zone. It's a team that can fight based on the quality they have and on the name. But importantly to say, they won't go far beyond. The best they will do probably, and even last season they did badly. It's only that they won the Europa League final. But I wouldn't say they will go down, but I would say they are in such a poor form. With a new manager coming in the new season, I don't think replacing Thomas Frank with Igor Tudor was anything close to good. I think I don't know what the management was thinking, because looking at Thomas Frank as a coach and at what he had done at Brentford, I think he was most of a good bet than Igor Tudor. But Tottenham won't go down, but they won't perform any better again.
They won't perform any better. Hapa kwenye comment section, Virginia Sancho Akio, a Manchester United fan, says Spurs waende tu. We haven't forgotten the Europa League final last season. Waende tu kabisa. Ndivyo anavyosema Virginia Sancho Akio. But then, Sheila, what can Igor Tudor do for Spurs to survive? What should he do? Because ukiangalia katika ligi hao katika nafasi nzuri.
Okay, as for now, I think it's late. It's late to come to make change, because when you look at the table, they are position 16 with 29 points. Yeah, so I think maybe he should just try next season. But I know they can't go for relegation. Teams to go for relegation are Wolves, Burnley, West Ham, and between West Ham and Nottingham Forest. So Spurs will just remain there, but he should take from there. But for now, I don't think if we can try to make it well.
Rukus, msimu jana Manchester United were number 14 at some point, and people were bantering about, they were even joking that Manchester are going to be relegated. So I'm wondering why is the same phrase not going around Spurs? Because nikuangalia, I'm just trying to imagine next season without Spurs in the league, they are in the championship. Oh my goodness, that will be news.
Well, you can always give it a try on. Okay, Manchester, of course, last season it was all about banter, but of course, at the back of everyone's mind, we knew there was no way they were going to be relegated. I mean, it's unheard of. I would give the same energy to Tottenham. Why? Because of resources and also the players they have in their clutter. There are some players who could still come back from injury. The season still is 10 games away. That's 2 months away. That's a lot of time for them. The relegation battle between Spurs, West Ham, and Nottingham Forest could go all the way, if you ask me. Why? One, Spurs made a big gamble and changed the manager. I don't know why they did it. I think the atmosphere at the ground, or that the stadium was too toxic for Thomas Frank, and they felt he was an Arsenal sympathizer, of course. But I feel because of the new manager and his new tactics, it's going to take some time before they can settle. And if they're not careful, they might be relegated, because West Ham are looking like they're stabilizing their ship. They look even more stable in their defense, and now their attack is looking more clinical, the likes of Somerville and Bowen up front. So if they're not careful, they might be relegated in a very shocking way. But I wouldn't want to give it a gamble, because I enjoy having Tottenham in the Premier League. Because in the Premier League, every season, who would not want that? 6 points.
Mnapenda wanyonge tu.
Yes.
Mnapenda wanyonge wa kuangukia tu rahisi.
Yes.
Mnapenda wanyonge wa kuangukia tu rahisi tu, ampendi timu ngumu. Ile nakuelewa ya Rukus. I think you have some echo on your voice, on your sound. I don't know what you're using. Kindly check your private chat and sort it out as we come back from to you. But then Rukus as Wakamba, they will survive. But then guys, I want us to talk about another player here, but before we talk about that new player, Anto Mula anasema Spurs are just struggling with injuries, many players are out. Ndio sababu yake kuu kwamba huenda wanaweza kushuka daraja. Lakini Derek Jumba anasema Mwasi Junior cheza chini bana, kuna nini ndugu? Hatuongei saa hii, bado tuko na setback ya Martinez missing in tonight's game. Lakini ama sana wametenda kwenye mganga. Anyway, Momanyi Ogachi Kelvin anasema at this point experience takes over for one to cross the line, and City have one. We'll be there when premium tiers will be served hot. Spurs are just Spursy. They may even be relegated. Ameclick moja ndefu sana. Anto Mula anasema Gyokeres is only good when playing teams which don't play low block. He's not good in tight places unlike Joao Pedro. Ndio kauli yake hiyo. Lakini pia Anto Mula anasema kwamba Arsenal playing Chelsea is the easiest game Arsenal plays in recent time. Aja tutaona. Anasema kwamba that Spurs manager has a very poor record. Expect nothing from Spurs again. Anasema kwamba Spurs are the only team without a win 2026. Spurs are never a big team. Ndivyo anavyosema shabiki huyo Anto Mula. Now let's switch and talk about Mohamed Salah, the Egyptian magician, one of Africa's best talent that we've ever exported from Africa. But then this guy Kwanya, 9 games now and he hasn't found the net. So the question is, remember before the AFCON alikuwa amewekwa bench game kama 3, alafu akaleta shida, akaanza kugomea michuano, akatolewa kwenye kikosi kidogo, kisha akarejeshwa kabla ya AFCON, akametoka AFCON, amerudi kule Liverpool, lakini mechi 9 sasa hivi hajafunga bao ndugu. Je, is it time for Mohamed Salah to be omitted from the Liverpool's first 11?
Well, I wouldn't say that he should be omitted really, but I think his time at Liverpool is soon coming up, and I think looking at the events before he went for AFCON, when he was dropped, and of course what ensued after that, I think MoSalah served Liverpool so well. He has you rarely get a player who gives you over 20 goals a season consistently like MoSalah has always given to Liverpool in recent past, also under Klopp, and of course even last season when they went all the way and won the league. ahead of Arsenal. So I wouldn't be surprised if Salah, because I think his contract is ending in 2027, if I'm not wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves at the end of the season, because looking at Liverpool at the moment, they're not really playing around Salah. There's a time when everything was revolving around him. If you want assists, it would come from him. If you wanted goals, it would always come from him. But right now, I think they have changed their system, and I think Arne Slot is building his team around Florian Wirtz. If I could be wrong, maybe some other football fans see it differently, because Florian Wirtz is still a young lad and playing as that number 10 role. If you can play your football around him, for longevity, I think it just makes sense. Salah is on his 30s, so even if he leaves, I wouldn't be surprised. But that doesn't take away the kind of service that he has offered to Liverpool for in the years that he's been there. Won everything: FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League. I think Premier League amewini mara mbili, Champions League pia ameshinda. So vile umesema, he's king really. So even if he leaves, I don't think whether it's a Liverpool fan who would say Salah angetoka ni nini, hapana. Then let's now Liverpool should now restart rebuilding beyond MoSalah. Remember, kuna time we used to say, can Real Madrid start rebuilding past Ronaldo? Can Barcelona start rebuilding past Lionel Messi? So I think even Liverpool going forward, maybe next season now, proper, they should now start rebuilding around Florian Wirtz, because Liverpool even this season is a very different team. In fact, talking to some of the Liverpool fans, they'll tell you that they don't even know the style of football they're playing. Or Arne Slot ni gani? It's not even entertaining. So for next season, should they survive? Should they qualify for Champions League for next season? I think they just now need to start rebuilding, around Florian Wirtz because of his age. Age is still on his side, but for MoSalah, don't take away what he has done for Liverpool. He's key.
All right, great. I think you have a sound issue quality with your earphones. Maybe try and remove them so that it doesn't have that sound. And sorry, our listeners, for the sound quality. But then, as Kwanya sorts that out, let me just hear from Rukus, or is it Mudali? Let me go to Rukus, Mudali. Let me go to Rukus. Hebu niambie, Mohamed Salah anafaa tolewe kwenye first 11 yake. Angalia katika mechi ya juzi dhidi ya Nottingham Forest, Mohamed Salah baada ya kupigwa sub, he was laughing on the bench. Is he mocking the team?
Can you confirm my audio kama iko sawa?
Yeah, iko sawa.
Perfect. Now, these are just banters. Maybe he was talking about something very different. But of course, people will always want to jump in on anything they see just to, convict. It's called conviction bias or confirmation bias, because when I feel he's not performing very well, so he should be frowning on the bench. I mean, seriously. I think Mohamed Salah should not be dropped because he's too big a star, and that will bring down the morale of the team. Remember, there was a time Arne Slot gambled and tried that. It didn't go so well with him. Now, Mohamed Salah is always instrumental in any game because of tactical play, or tactical brilliance, and team morale. I think if I was Arne Slot, I would try adjust his role in the team. Remember, Liverpool this time don't have that wing play that is very effective. So I would try at least switch to two up front, maybe Ekitike and MoSalah. I think same way Arteta adjusted or tried to switch Saka to a role or a right attacking midfielder role. It brought him more close to the goal, and that also helped because he scored a goal also in that regard. So MoSalah, if they switched him up front, maybe to play an interchangeable role or a default 9 with Ekitike, I think it might be more effective than him trying to be benched or just the same old drill of playing on the wing. I saw they were trying to do that a lot, and Nottingham Forest would just bring 3 or 4 players to fill that gap, and MoSalah could do nothing, just do backward pass or sideways passing. So he's not the same MoSalah who used to play with the same vigor or athleticism. And I think that's where the coach could try and be more creative.
All right, great. Let me just hear from Mudali. Mudali, MoSalah aikwe bench ama asiwekwe? Maana mimi nafikiri kwamba as Kwanya put it, I think his time at Liverpool is over and he should accept that reality, na anafaa tu aondoke msimu kamilika. Mudali, unmute your mic.
Sorry, Sagini. Benching Salah. We have discussed this before on this pod, and we have at some point said what Slot needs to do, and even at some point mentioned if whether or not Slot should think of going with two at the front. But benching Salah is another issue altogether because I was looking at the Forest game, and he looked he was really trying to play wide, but the as Rukus rightly put it, there would be so many players trying to swarm on him. He would have 3 or 4, so he was trying to drag them wide, but it seemed not to be working. So I think Arne Slot has some work, and what he has to do importantly is, as I've always said, Sagini, to try to switch on into another formation probably, or another setup that maybe puts Salah away for a bit to just see how the other players, probably doing 2 at the front, na vile Salah he can try him at the number 9 alongside Eketike, but if Isak is in a good state, then they can play with Isak with 2 at the front. Not the right time to bench him yet, but I think it is important that Liverpool conform their structure into a different way other than going wide. For example, one thing, Sagini, Szoboszlai is such a good player, for example, in terms of progressing play. So I think Liverpool can, and in the recent time wamejaribu kwenda through the middle. Szoboszlai is straightforwardly feeding Eketike at the number 9, and I think that is why Salah for some reason amekaa wing yake haiko productive sana. So probably Liverpool should look into switching their style of play and sidelining Salah a bit. But going into the future, Sagini, I think Salah's time at Liverpool is way over.
Bila shaka, asante sana kwa hilo. Nimsome hapa shabiki mmoja ametoa kauli nzuri, anaitwa Virginia Sancho Kio, anasema kwamba no one is bigger than a team. If he's not scoring, other guys should be given that opportunity. Sheila, if you are Arne Slot, what will you do? You're big gun, you're big top player, big name, he's not scoring, and you need goals.
Okay, thanks Sagini for the opportunity. So I can say Mohamed Salah is a great player. We should just give him time. Yeah, he helped Liverpool to win a title last season. But this time, even when the season began, I've been looking at him the way he's playing. He's not playing like the Salah that we know. But I think we should just give him time. Also, the issue that he had with the coach last, I think it has also affected him. He wanted to move out of this team, but I guess maybe through interactions with some of the fans or of the teams or the friends, he had to hold back to that. So I believe he can do better than this. We should just give him time. Just as my friends, my colleagues have said there, we should give him time and also change the playing style. Liverpool is a good team. Yeah, when you have Szoboszlai, I just remember him. Anyway, also Salah, when he will be given good time, I believe he can do more. He's a good player. I just trust in him still.
So right, bila shaka, asante sana kwa hilo. I can see here on Facebook fan page, Lauren Andanje has just joined and is watching, and she's watching live. Asante sana kwa kutangamana nasi bila shaka leo kwenye kipindi cha Walk with Sagini. Now, let me just read some comments here before we switch on to another crucial topic of discussion tonight. And Abdulaziz Nameka anasema all the way from Lamu, he is watching. Anto Mula, MoSalah is no longer Liverpool's main man. That's one main reason why they are struggling. He's used to be the main man back then. Asante sana kwa ulio nzuri kabisa bila shaka. Honorable Francis Mutiso anasema MoSalah's time is up in the EPL, but let's not forget that form is temporary and class is permanent. Anto Mula anasema kwamba ukitaka kutupa pesa leo, pea Man U. Nitakuja bila shaka muda si mrefu. Nimeshasoma yake Virginia Sancho Akio. Alafu Anto Mula says MoSalah is no longer Liverpool's main man. That has changed everything. That's why they are struggling. Derek Jumba anasema Kwanya, do we have Liverpool fans here in Kenya? I only know one veteran, Kenny Gidinji. Anyway, I also agree it is time for Salah to quit. He has had it all with the likes of Mane, Robo, Fabinho, and many more. And now after that, about tushaongelea kuhusu Arsenal, tushaongelea kuhusu Spurs, tushagusia Chelsea kidogo, tushagusia MoSalah, tushagusia nda mwingine, kila mtu, but we have forgotten one main. Of course, the greatest team in the world is playing tonight. Manchester United against Everton away. After, remember the first leg, Manchester lost 1-0 against 10 men Everton. Mudali, it's your night tonight. Unaonaje? Manake wengi kuna vijembe kweli kweli.
Sagini, kwanza allow me to cry and remember the trauma of losing against a 10-man Everton in that poor display that Amorim tried to display. But I think in the first leg, and Everton will be keen on this one. In the first leg, it was down to poor game management. But today, United are in good moods. And Sagini, allow me to just say that Lisandro Martinez is out, and the lineups are here with me. Now, before we discuss, Sene Lamen starts in goal, Luke Shaw at the left back, Lenny Yoro, Harry Maguire, and Diogo Dalot, Casemiro and Kobe Mainoo in the double pivot, Mateus Cunha and Amad Diallo on the wings, Bruno as the number 10, and Mbeumo as the sole striker. Then for Tottenham, Pickford starts in goal, James Garner alongside Braithwaite and Michael Keane, James Tarkowski in defense, Idrissa Gana Gueye and team are the double pivot. Ndiaye, Paul, Armstrong, and Barry are playing. So coming to this game, there's a lot of pressure at United, considering that we are at 45 points with Liverpool and I think Chelsea. The pressure is high, but sikuwa nimepata hii cold feet Sagini, but imeingia tu sasa hivi like 20 minutes ago. I realized that our most progressive player, Lisandro Martinez, is not starting. That is a worry for me because he has done a lot, not just on the defense and not just in the defense alone, even tapping in the midfield and even progressing the ball forward. So I have a bit of a hitch on my defense, especially with Lenny Yoro. He's been doing well, and Everton, my God, a low block. I'm telling you, there's so much to be done. I'm not tensed, but there's too much to happen in the next 2 or 3 hours again.
Wow, umenifurahisha kusema kwamba ghafla bin vu umepatwa na tunasema kigugumizi cha miguu, lakini nikiangalia katika hii lineup ambayo ameitoa mkufunzi wa timu ya Manchester United, I remember against West Ham, Manchester really struggled to break that low block, and up until Benjamin Sesko came on, and that's when Manchester were able to equalize. And tonight, Benjamin Sesko sits on the bench, and I'm seeing an Everton side which will play like West Ham, not going forward, not attacking, just sitting back and just playing a wall hole low block. Hey, Manchester tapenyaje kizungumkuti hiki kwanya?
First of all, listening to Mudali, I just get one thing. Really, they're not winning. Basically, that's what is. Yeah, so he has said so many things, but he's just told us that they're not winning. So, and I tend to agree with him. Monday Night Football tonight, I think, is going to be so difficult for Manchester United going to Il Dickinson Stadium and get maximum points. Remember, I think Michael Carrick has played 4 games in the Premier League, beat Arsenal, beat Manchester City, and there's another team that they won. Then, of course, they drew against West Ham before the FA Cup break. I think, looking at those results, I think now this is going to be a loss. And again, despite the fact that Nasema itakuwa loss, if there's a team that really needs to be, not deserve, but really needs to be winning in the Premier League, is Manchester United. Why? They play weekly. Other teams have to wait. You see, some have to play FA Cup, some have to play Champions League, some have to play the Carabao Cup. Manchester United only have, in fact, I think after this game today, the last time they played was 12 days ago. So that's
around 13.
13
all 2
days.
weeks. Yeah.
So you see, that's proper rest for a team like Manchester United. But going to Il Dickinson Stadium is going to be difficult. More so, David Moyes still has a score to set with the Manchester United, the chosen one tonight. I think it's going to be a difficult game for Manchester United. But Casemiro is celebrating his birthday today, 34 years. I wish him all the best. He can score a goal today and celebrate. But United, vile umesema, Mudele amesema, you guys struggle a lot when you play against an opponent that is playing low block. So you have to be creative. Like so Bruno Fernandes has to find a way of unlocking such low blocks, but itakuwa ngumu sana tonight.
All right, Rukus, how of a threat is Everton to Manchester tonight?
They are a threat because one, Everton play their best when they are playing at home, because they have a very good fan base who also know how to hype up the team. And I've looked at that squad, that midfield of Ghana Gay with Timo Irogbona. That's a very solid midfield. It's going to be very physical game. I think going forward, Everton will have to capitalize on maybe Ndiaye and Timo Bad. But it's not going to be easy to break that team. It's not going to be easy. I'm anticipating maybe a draw at best. What I'll win for Everton. And I'm not even being biased.
Lakini watu Arsenal, Manchester haikaribiani na nyinyi katika ligi. Manchester haiwakaribii popote.
If you did not win against West Ham, I don't expect you to win against Everton at home. Especially the fact that hamjacheza in 13 games, in 13 days. That's not a good advantage. It's a bad thing because also rest means complacency.
Yeah, true. I agree with you. Sheila, Everton, Manchester United. What can Manchester do? Because I know, even you hold the same sentiment like Rukus. What can Manchester do to beat Everton? Because in the first leg, they lost 1-0. And as Rukus and Kwanya put it, and also Mudali, Everton plays a low block, and we've seen Manchester struggling against low blocks clubs like Everton and the likes of West Ham and Wolves. What can Manchester do tonight to secure a win?
Okay, first I remember last time, first leg, Everton won against United with the red card. Okay, on today's game, Everton is at home. That is a great advantage to them. As for United, I don't think if they will get even a point, because if you look at, I've looked at the Everton squad lineup, and I have also looked at United's squad. So even though today is Casemiro's birthday, he can score an own goal. Yeah, he can score an own goal. Yeah, so I just believe, and I know this thing, and I even said on Saturday, Saturday, United is gonna lose. Yeah, that's all.
Oh my goodness. Yani chuki imefikia hapo mpaka unamtakia afunge goli la kufunga. Okay, sawa tu, lakini kwenye comments hapa Anto Mula anasema leo kupea Man U kichwa ni kupoteza pesa. Trust me. Derek Jumba anasema Mudali, wacha uoga. Leo tunatoa hiyo bad luck ya Monday. This is our Champions League match. Full time score, Everton 1, Manchester United 3. It's a good show. Asante sana. Anto Mula anasema I even thought Man U were banned from football. Game moja kwa mwezi. Anto anasema kwamba leo hawataamini. Moyes is about to do a double against Man U this season. Virginia Sancho Akio anasema Manchester United win 2-0. Nothing to shake us. We are not Arsenal. Nasim El Haddadi anasema Everton ni kichwa ya mbuzi ama ni kichwa ya nini? Lakini pia namuona Derek Juma pale mtandaoni wawaka moto kweli. Guys, I must say this was a good show. Thank you so much guys for tuning in, and on that note, see you again next Monday on match week 27, okay? And we'll get to know what will unfold. But then mimi niko na kauli moja tu, Kwanya, Chelsea msituangushe weekend. Tafadhali msituangushe weekend. Spurs failed us, but I believe in Chelsea. You know, as I told you Mudali, the other show, that moving forward until Ligi ishe, Chelsea and Man U are brothers. So it is Chelsea United. So just know in that game, it will be Chelsea United versus Arsenal. So please don't fail us. Thank you so much, our viewers, for watching from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. I've been with in the good company of Joshua Kwanya, Mudali, Sheila, but of course also ameshatuacha bila shaka, amekimbia kwa shughuli zingine pale. Rukus anaitwa Kelvin Sitati. Mimi nimekwako Jason Sagini, the sports archbishop, kama ilivyo ada. Michezo ni yetu na sporti ni sisi. Nakutakia usiku mwema, lakini kumbuka GGMU siku zote Manchester is going to beat Mudali. Acha uoga bwana, acha uoga. Manchester
2-1 or 3-1.
Kwa heri.